All right. So what I'm going to do in this bit is I am going to show you how to get your size and placement right every single time. Okay, let me start my timer here for 15 minutes. This just helps me to stay on time. All right, and let me see here. Okay, get it where I'm not hitting it, where you can see it and I can get to it. All right, so we're going to do a size and placement. Now this is an oval panel. See this blue tape that I have? This is like a floating panel. You can see it's just the Baltic wood there. I cover this up while I prime it and then while I paint it. And then once it's done, I go back and I take some stain. And depending upon the panel or what I paint on it, I choose either a warm stain, a mahogany stain, or a cool, like it's a gray tone. Choose one of those. I don't know why I did that. The up and down one. I meant to do a cross, but it was going to be like this way. Okay. So I got a lot of extra lines in here, but we do kind of about have our thirds. There may be a little bit off, just a little bit. Okay, we've got our thirds there. Can you see that? Good. Okay. And so we're going to put this on there and show you the size and placement. Now there's a couple different ways that you can do this, and I'm going to show you one of those ways. Let me erase some of these lines because it's confusing even to me. Your paper towel is a very important painting tool. Now I'm just putting a little bit of oleo gel on this. This is linseed oil and silica. That's all that I'm doing. And I'm just kind of smushing this all in. It's going to help to create the background tone. That's all this is doing. Okay. So when you're putting your largest object on your painting, you want it to be no bigger than 2 of these sections, of these thirds. So no more than 2 across and no more than 2 up and down. The other thing I like to think about is there going to be enough air around them to breathe? So I also like to think about that. And how tall is it? That's the vase plus the flowers. And where do I need to fit the bottom of the vase? On these oval panels, it's just a little bit trickier because I want where this is kicking out, it's going to kick out about like this, that stem on the flower that's on the tabletop, it's going to kick out about like that. I want to make sure there's room to get that kicking out and coming back towards the viewer. So I want to make sure there's room for that. And so I've got to think about that. So there's got to be room for that coming in. It's going to be like about this angle. So where can I put this? It could go all the way off if we wanted it to. And we could have that here. That could be that flower. And then that would make this be the bottom of the vase. Okay, so that seems okay. Let's kind of mask that in and see how is that going to look and feel. How is that going to feel? Should that be a little bit bigger? It's an idea. And then we'll have some flowers over here and flower over here. So that's one way to do this. Another way to go about doing this, we can do our little erasing here. Is to say, let's just take the outside envelope of it, right? Let's take the outside envelope of it. And where is that going to, where do I want this outside edge to be? So let's say we want the outside edge to be here. That's maybe a little bit better representation. So we've got this top petal here, and we'll still have the edge, the bottom edge of the vase here. And then we've got this kicking out just like that. And we can see that little hook coming in. And then we just make sure and keep everything in. So we've got this coming out here. We've got another one right beside it. So we're actually going to be doing 3 right at the same time. And that one's going to come out like that. And then the top of the base is going to be right about here. We've got that little mouth there. We might want to make it a little bit bigger. And then we've got a little bit of a little foot here at the bottom. And then we've got this globe here, this sphere of it. It looks, this is really just so much fun to paint. And of course, we've got one here and then one in the shadows here. So now I'm going to step back and kind of look at that. I know this is a really rough drawing of it. This is really rough. It's meant to be. The tighter that your drawing is, the tighter that your final painting is going to be. The looser that your initial drawing is, the looser that your final painting is going to be. So then I want table edge be right about there. And we're going to make it come down just a little bit. Okay. we've got about 5 minutes left of how long I wanted this video to be. So I still haven't picked out what my color want the background to be. I picked out that I want it to be a middle tone, but I haven't picked out a color. So if you will take a look at this with me, I don't know if you have a color wheel. This is the pocket color wheel. You can get a larger one if you want. I just happen to use this one. And what I want you to see is that we've got you can pick a complementary color, you can pick a split complementary color, a triad, or a tetrad. So I already know that I've got yellow and I've got blue. So the complementary color to yellow is actually violet. But if we do yellow, blue, and red violet, what if I did the background a red violet color? That is one option. So if we focused on this being more of a blue violet, we could do a red violet. The other thing is we could do what's called a tetrad. So we could do yellow, blue, and red. So that means we could do the red in a dull red. And you can look through here and look at what are so we could do a pink, kind of a reddish, light red brown, and then a maroon color. So there's a lot of different options there as to what you could um, do. And then we can look at this red here. Um, So if we add black to the red, this is the color that we're going to go get. Go back here. So we know we've got yellow. So we could do a split complementary of blue violet and red violet with the yellow. We could do a tetrad of blue, yellow, and red. Those are all options that we could do. If we were to do a red background, what I would want to do is to make it a very dull or low chroma red background. And since red is already a middle tone, that would make it fairly easy, depending upon what we use to go dull it down with. Um, Typically, we would use green or black. So we might have to be adding in quite a bit of white to that as well to make this background a middle tone. So that's something to be thinking about. This blue vase, we could, with a little bit of pushing of the color, because this is a real blue, we could make it into a blue violet, and then we could do a red violet, or um, uh, almost like a purple background color with the yellow. So that is another option there. I want to keep them yellow. I really do like that yellow. Keep that bright yellow. So I thought about, could I make it a yellow orange? And I don't really want to do that. When we get to the tetrad color schemes, they get to be a bit more complicated. And since this is going to be such a simple painting, I don't want to have a complicated color scheme. So I want to keep it really quite simple. So we could do a yellow, red, and blue. I think that's one of our top options. Another option that we could do is, since the blue is not our main color, we're wanting the yellow to being our main color, we could do a very dull blue. And put that in the background. So that would be blue plus black plus white, maybe blue plus raw umber plus white, something along those lines. That would be another option. It would cause this blue vase to, we could either make it pop, or we could push it back into the background more. So we would have a little bit of a option for that, of how big of a role do we want this blue vase to be playing. And we could have it to play a bigger role, a smaller role. All right, so those are my thoughts. I'm going to be kind of thinking over that as I'm getting the rest of the painting set up and kind of thinking on that, and then as we dive into the actual painting, we will hopefully I'll have made up my mind. All right.